We're going to speak now with a witness who was there at the Trump rally. She was in the front row. Here's a photo that she took of Donald Trump right before the shooting. Joining us now is Erin Autenrieth. Erin, thank you very much for being here. You were in the very front row, right beneath Donald Trump. Tell us what happened as you experienced it.
President Trump entered from the left side, got to the podium, started to speak, and everybody was standing, cheering, and he immediately spoke a couple words, then put up the graphic. People were looking towards the graphic about the border wall, and then all of a sudden he stopped talking. I looked directly at him then. He crouched, and then the 4 Secret Service came up and pushed him down. But over to the right was all the photographers, and they were all heaped. There was like 5 of them in like a big heap, laying motionless. And then the guys with the black suits on, not the suits, but the long guns, they entered the stage. And I heard them say, "Clear right, clear left, okay, get him up." They lifted President Trump up, and I saw the red blood on his cheek. And Trump said, "Get me my shoes." So they must have fallen off during the scuffle. Then they turned him to the right to exit on the opposite side of the stage, and I could see from his ear, from the top down, was blood. But at that point, I didn't think there was a shooting. I'm sorry, I went back to say, I heard the 4 pops. Pop, 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 pop. Was like a firecracker. When he got up, I saw his face, he looked good, but they must have just hurt his ear on the podium when they pushed him down. I didn't think anybody was shot at this point. They rushed him off the stage. Now, little by little, all these photographers are starting to get up. I had no idea that there was a shooting until people started leaving, and McCormick, who's running for Senate, was right behind me in the second row. He started walking back him. The guy next to him was Mr. Elmore from Beaver Falls, or Beaver, PA. His shirt was all red with blood. Was walking fine, but I knew he wasn't shot, but somebody near him must have been shot. And that was really the first time that we really thought there was a shooting. A guy behind me, 2 seats to the right, he had view of the sharpshooters. They were behind Trump on a roof. And he said he saw the sharpshooter shoot somebody. But the interesting thing was nobody left, nobody ran, nobody moved. Everybody stayed in their position. And a lot of people have asked me, didn't you fear for your life? And I said no. I mean, we just wanted to protect the president. It was like the whole first row line, not a single person moved. And I don't think many people left that area until we were actually escorted out by the Secret Service. So it was kind of a strange situation.
Yeah, I mean, the way that you're able to recall it in such vivid detail is amazing. Why don't you think you were worried for your own safety?
Well, this was my 6th rally, the 3rd time I had been a volunteer. Last time I was in the 4th row, and I was determined to go up. So I kind of knew what was going on. I'm not new, but, I had seen how they normally operate. When the sharpshooters got up on the roof, I knew that the motorcade was on its way, because they're not up there very much, not longer than 15 or 20 minutes before he arrives. So all the people around me know. I say, "Oh, he's coming," because the sharpshooters are in position. Now they're not normally there that much. Oh no, Trump did put his hand up, and we all saw it. And then he started saying the words "fight, fight, fight." So I think all of us were very relieved that he was alive and well enough to walk. He walked down those steps, and really they pushed him. I don't think he wanted to leave that stage. They really pushed him down those steps. They were kind of pushing him. And so, from my viewpoint there in front of him, I could not see what was happening to the left on the elevated step until I saw that gentleman with the blood. Because what I hear is people just carried the people out or try to help them, but I didn't hear like sirens. I didn't see any ambulance or any medical people over there. I just I really didn't see that. It was kind of, but there was a lot of people, but it just, you couldn't see everything. I saw Trump. That's all I was interested in. I guess when you asked me why I wasn't afraid, I thought, whatever happened, he was the target.
Erin,
And really, it was the 4 pops and nothing after that. So it wasn't like, you'd hear a whole bunch of gunfire. You didn't. It was pop, 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 pop. That's what it sounded like. Came out of my left ear. I could hear it to the left. I guess there was a muzzle on the gun, which made that popping sound. And, 4th of July was only, I'm looking at my calendar, from a week ago. So we had heard a lot of that a week ago. And I'm thinking, oh, must be a neighbor that had leftover fireworks, is having a party, and boom, they're just celebrating.
Erin, what did it mean to you when he said fight, fight, fight?
I think it assured everybody that he was still strong. Because when he was down like that, I didn't know if he was ever going to get up. Nor did I think any of those photographers were going to get up either.
Wow.
It was for all of them. They were in such a still position. And it seemed like he held him down for a long time. They didn't just escort him fast off that stage. I guess they waited till those guys come with the guns and cleared the area before they would lift him up. So I think that was reassuring. Yeah, the fight, fight, fight. I guess I don't know if it's a battle cry. I just took it as like a big sigh of relief. Okay, he's bleeding, but I thought maybe it was just I thought maybe it was a nick on the ear. And I didn't know where the blood came right here, but I guess it must have been running down. But the picture that people were showing, he's closer to the steps, and there's definitely a lot more blood than when they first lifted him up. He did not have that much blood on his ear or his face when I first saw him.
Erin, thank you very much for joining us. The way that you're able to recall that in such detail is it's impressive. It's also obviously a searing moment.
It was very memorable, and I'm comparing it now. I was in 2nd grade when President Kennedy was shot in a Catholic school in Pittsburgh, and we all had to get on our knees and pray for the president. So it was a little bit like a reminiscence came back that, man, but I saw his blood. I didn't just see a picture of the blood. I saw President Trump's blood on his face and down his ear.
Yeah. And now you're
just
an adult.
Trying to deal with it.
Now you're an adult.
Yeah, now I'm an adult, and wow, yeah. Probably still a little bit of shock, but getting to feel better and better.
Yeah, we live in a scary moment. Erin, thank you very much for joining us, and I do hope that I do hope you're okay.
Hey there, MSNBC fans. I'm Luke Russert, and be sure to join me, Rachel Maddow, Jen Psaki, Lawrence O'Donnell, Steve Kornacki, Joy Reid, and many more September 7th in Brooklyn. MSNBC Live Democracy 2024. Click on the link for ticket information. We will see you there.